We're going to jump right in this thing. And again, good morning and welcome to everybody who's joining us live or watching the recording now. We are thrilled to have you here. Thank you, Cherie, for putting a good morning in the chat. There we go. We have Chandra Hall, master trainer with Ninja Selling with us. She is not new to Kai's and Illustrated Properties. She's been with us now for years, and each year really comes out and holds amazing installations for our associates. And she is here today to give us an update as to what is new with Ninja Selling this year, what to look forward to with our upcoming installation here in September. And without further ado, if you could all join me in a nice round of applause, or you could type in a nice good morning or hello to Chandra. Chandra, thank you so much for being here
Thank
with us
you,
this morning. Really
Stephen.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So great to see all of my Kai's and Illustrated Properties friends. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You know, your time is your most valuable asset. We are so clear on that. And I'm just so grateful that you would dedicate some time to this morning. So I have a PowerPoint that is going to be a visual for us as we have our lesson this morning. So let me just bring that up and get that rolling. And as Stephen said, as we go along, if you have questions, as you have questions or things come up, you just feel free to put those in the chat. We will have some time at the end for Q&A. So we'll have an opportunity to do that as well, where people could even unmute themselves at that time and ask questions. So with that, we are going to start. I wanted to talk to everybody about Ninja, and I think being at Kai's and Illustrated Properties, certainly not a term you're unfamiliar with. We're all familiar probably with Ninja. Now, some of you may be more familiar than others, and I understand that. So again, we'll be able to get any questions answered as we go along here as well. But I really want everybody to be clear that Ninja is truly the business building blueprint for every market. You know, we all know that the real estate market has ups, it has downs, but Ninja has been tried, true, and proven for over 3 decades now. So no matter what's going on in the market, if you will invest to learn the Ninja system and or refresh on the Ninja system, because it's not a one and done, right? As human beings, we know it takes multiple times. Habits is where success comes from. And we can't just get it all after doing it once. So with that, I want to invite everybody to also learn what's new with Ninja. And thank you all for your commitment for being here, because it's very easy to think, oh, Ninja, oh my gosh, they talk about that all the time. You know, I know what that is. But we've got some new things for you as well that I'm very excited to talk about today. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure or honor of meeting before, my name is Chandra Hall, as Stephen said. I'm in my 30th year in this great business of real estate. So I've been licensed for 30 years now. I grew up in the industry. I'm a third generation realtor, so I've been around it all my life. I started teaching after I got my MBA. So that was back in the year 2000. So I've been doing the teaching side for quite some number of years now. And I'm also a realtor just like you. I work with buyers and sellers. I'm also a real estate investor. So I've been able to use real estate to create passive income. So we're also, you know, we'll talk about that during the installation, not today. We're not going to get into all that today, but that's something that I want for all of you as well. And I do some land development and some building. So work in a lot of different aspects of the business. But what I really love to do is help people build their best life with the Ninja system, because I was so grateful that somebody took the time to tell me about it and that I took the opportunity to engage and learn the system, because it has absolutely changed my life. So I want that for everybody as well. And that's what really drives me to run around the country and get on airplanes and live in hotel rooms and do all that and make this available to people. So I would encourage you to answer the call as well for yourself. Now, if you're not familiar with the history, I want to give you a quick, brief intro. Larry Kendall is probably a name you recognize. He's our creator and founder. And the history dates back over 3 decades. In fact, the home of Ninja Selling is what we call the group. And there's been over 100,000 ninjas, starting with the people at the group who have been through the installation, we call it. It's been taught in 10 countries and books been translated into 7 different languages. But the reason I wanted to bring up the group is it's not a big company. It's in northern Colorado, Fort Collins to be exact. And the thing that you need to remember about the group, everybody, it's a small company. We've only got about 250 agents. But the interesting thing about the group is year over year, The agents at the group have one of the highest dollar income per agent than any other company in the nation. And they're just this small company in northern Colorado. And people often ask, like, how is that possible? What are they doing? Well, they're doing the same system that you have an opportunity to learn. And that is the system of ninja selling. It is all designed to help you build a better business. And I can promise you, if you'll come and invest the time at the installation with me and the time after the installation with me, so we're going to talk about what that means as well. If you will invest that time in yourself and your business, it will so be worth it because it will help you build a better business. Guaranteed. In fact, the empirical data shows that people who follow the ninja system, they always outperform the market by at least 20%. So that's a foregone conclusion. We've got all sorts of data to show that that's true for over the last 3 decades. So that's a given right there. But I even get more excited about this for all of you because it helps people live their best life. So if you want to improve your relationships, if you want to maybe even find the love of your life or increase your relationships with your family or friends or whatever that looks like for you, maybe you just want to have some more time off. You don't want to feel like you're married to the business of real estate and running around with your hair on fire 24/7. Ninja is for you because that's exactly what it will help you do. Not only build a better business and make more money, but help you live your best life while you're doing it. So that is why we exist at Ninja, everybody. We want to change the sales industry. Our goal is to change the way that the world looks at salespeople, especially in the real estate business. And that is ninja selling. That's what it's all about. Now, I will tell you, it is super user friendly because, especially for some of you who are newer to Ninja, you might be thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, what am I going to have to do? This is going to totally turn my life upside down. No, it's not. I can promise you that. In fact, I'm going to show you how to incorporate the system of Ninja into the life you are already living. Because look, there's all sorts of people listening to this. We have people who have been in the business a lot of years. We have people who are brand new. We have people who are still raising children at home. We have people whose kids have grown and kind of left the nest, right? We've got all sorts of people listening to this, and Ninja can meet you exactly where you're at. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. The reason that it is so powerful for people is because it is a system. Now, any of us who have been in real estate for any length of time knows the importance of systems. In fact, you probably hear that word multiple times on a daily basis because it truly is the genesis of your success. It's all about systems. Ninja is a proven system, and the reason that it works is because a system is duplicatable. If something is truly a system, you could hand it to someone else and they could do it. And that's exactly what we've developed with Ninja. If something's truly a system, it will give you predictable results. And that's super important, everybody. I mean, I can remember before my time with Ninja. And by the way, I was first introduced to Ninja back in 2005. So I got in the business in the mid 90s. And so I was in the business 7, 8 years before I was introduced to Ninja. And I can remember thinking back then on my career, I was always looking for the answer. I mean, I just thought to myself, okay, if I just, had the right answer, had the great presentation, I do great in real estate. And it was exhausting. What was really cool about Ninja is a system that I could follow and it would give predictable results. It took away all of the fear, all of the worry, all of the anxiety that I had every single year, hoping and praying that I'd make money, that it would all work out. All of that stuff goes away when you follow the predictable system of Ninja. And here's the other great part. It works for everyone. It doesn't matter what your personality style is. It doesn't matter what market you're in. It is going to work for everyone. It's a proven recipe for success. In fact, if you've ever heard someone say TSW, most of you know that's a phrase we use at Ninja all the time, and it simply stands for the system works. Now, admittedly, some people like to use a different word for the S, but for our purposes today and for the recording, we're going to say the system works, right? And it really does work. In fact, I can promise you, it's not a matter of if it works. The only question is will you learn and work the system? It's just like following a cookie recipe. You follow the proven recipe and the cookies turn out, and the same thing is going to be true for your business and your life. It allows people to become an on purpose realtor. That's kind of rare in our industry. I think a lot of you would agree. If people have a goal, they want to get from point A to point B, Ninja has a proven way to do it. Majority of people in our industry, they are what we would call an on accident realtor. That was me. I will be the first to admit that was me before Ninja. And not because I was a bad person or a bad realtor, I just didn't know any different. I hadn't been exposed to Ninja yet. But majority of people running around with their hair on fire, hoping and praying that it all works out for them. And by the way, sometimes they get from point A to point B, but it looks really different. It's so much more stressful, it's so much more chaotic, and it's not sustainable. That's the big difference. And I want to give you all just a little thing that you could plug into. If you're not familiar with or have not listened to episodes of our Ninja Selling podcast, please make a note of that. Get on wherever you listen to podcasts and check out the Ninja Selling podcast. It is going to be a really great resource for you. It has a lot of great lessons in there. It's obviously complimentary. That's something that you could plug into right away. And you're going to hear a lot of great success stories on there. And one of the stories of success on there is a gentleman that we interviewed. His name is Mike De Palma. Now, he's one of our ninjas in New Jersey. And the cool thing about Mike is he's a great example of someone who was really struggling with real estate. In fact, everybody, he made $8,000 his first year in real estate. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I can't live on 8,000. I don't think any of us can live on $8,000. He came to Ninja. He learned the system. He stayed persistent. Please understand, not perfect. That's a big distinction, everybody. We're not looking for perfection to do the system. All we need is your commitment and persistence. That's it. And Mike did it. And do you know he went from making $8,000 a year to $308,000 that next year? He did 69 transactions. He gets home at 5 o'clock every day because he has young children and he wants to be at home for them. That's the kind of lifestyle that he wants. And a big reason that he's able to do that, and he doesn't take calls at night and he's not held captive by his clients anymore like he used to be, is largely due to Ninja habit number 6. Now, for some of you, that means nothing right now, and I totally get that. But I want you to know that at Ninja, we have 9 success habits. We call it the Ninja 9. You may have heard that phrase before. And the Ninja 9 are 9 success habits that really help you live your best life, both personally and professionally. Now, I'm going to review a couple of them today so that you can start plugging in and doing them right away. And then my hope is that you will join us at the installation in September, because then obviously we're going to take a deep dive and I'm going to show you exactly how to do what Mike did and what so many other ninjas have done by learning the system. Now, I know we all know this, but I just need us to all be clear. There's really 2 parts to this business that we're in. There's doing the business, right? That's working with buyers, working with sellers. I mean, you all, have learned how to do that. You all have great training available to you at your company to learn how to do part of that. And that part, I think, is much easier than generating the business. I mean, look, let's be real. Give any one of us, a buyer or seller, we're off and running, right? The harder part is generating the business. That is what we're going to focus on with Ninja, a tried and true system that not only helps you be more successful doing the business when you do have those opportunities with buyers and sellers, but also how to do activities that will ongoingly generate business. Because look, most of us have lived on the real estate roller coaster. Now, that's what I call it. You may call it something different, but I think every one of us can relate. It's when you experience like a really great month. Like you got several deals going, you're feeling great, it's amazing, you're running around doing all the things. But then all of that business closes. And then you're at the bottom of the hill, so to speak. And then you start to panic. I know I always did. And I would look at myself and I would say, oh my gosh, I had 3 deals going. Now they've all closed. Now I got nothing. There's nothing in my pipeline. What am I going to do? Then I go into panic mode and then I start grabbing at shiny objects, right? Oh my gosh, maybe I should buy this lead system. Maybe I should go do this for marketing. That is not a great way to run your real estate business. Trust me, everybody, I did that for years before Ninja. That's not what we want to do. Instead, we just want to follow the proven system of Ninja because it's going to get us off that real estate roller coaster. It will help us all create a sustainable, predictable business, regardless of the market fluctuations. There's a great quote by Jim Rohn. Some of you might be familiar with him and his work. Of course, he's passed on now, but he has a lot of great work for us. And he said, it is the set of the sails, not the direction of the wind, that determines where we go. And that's really a great quote. It's one that I always hold on to because I know and you know that the market fluctuates, right? The market shifts. I mean, gosh, I remember back in 2022 when the market really shifted. A lot of you were in the business then as well. And every single person in this industry right now is experiencing what we call the Great Divide. And you're either on one side or the other. We have people that are on what I'm going to call the surviving side. They're worried, just kind of like Mike was. He made 8 grand. He was like, gosh, I don't know if I can do this. Maybe I need to go get a real job, right? Maybe this isn't for me. There's people that are living on that side. I've been there. Then there's people on what we call the thriving side. And those are people that have a lot of real estate opportunities. They have a lot of business, they have a lot of income, but they don't have a life. Do you know our industry, everybody, unfortunately, has one of the highest rates of disease, divorce? Like, it is not a pretty picture. So we've got to take the opportunity that's right in front of us, learn how to develop a great business, but don't be married to your business. Don't do that. So many people have done that, and you don't have to do that to be successful. Instead, follow a system and know that the solution is Ninja 9. It's those 9 success habits that you can easily do, by the way, and that you don't have to do perfectly to have success. So we're going to show you exactly how to do that. The thing about Ninja is the success comes from the 3 keys. If you and I can master our mindset, our skill set, and our actions, the world is our oyster, everybody. You can absolutely have anything that you want in this life if you can manage and master those 3 things. We're going to address all 3 of those things in the installation. And the rest of our time today, I'm going to share with you a few things under each category that you could start with right away and start doing right now in your own business if you choose to, which I hope you will. So we're going to start with mindset. Now, mindset is all about understanding your brain. The people that are willing to study a little bit about the neuroscience, how our brain works, how we form habits, that is absolutely the group of people that have what they want in life because everything starts with your mindset. One of our ninjas, I was talking with her last year in Vegas. Her name is Laura. And when she first got into the business, everybody, the market had almost already pretty much shifted. I mean, she got in like towards the tail end of COVID. So she got in like 2022. Her second full year in the business of 2023, she did 36 transactions. That's an amazing business, right? I mean, I don't care how long you've been in the business. That's a great business, especially for a rookie. In 2024, she served 47 families. Last year in 2025, she served 60 families. Now, what was interesting, and I said to Laura, I said, Laura, what's so great about you is you got into the business when the market had already shifted. And do you know that there's so many people around this country who have a real estate license right now that are complaining, this is hard. How do I do this? I want to go back to the 2020 market, right? There's a lot of people that say that. And again, everybody, I get it. I remember those days. Heck, you didn't have to be knowledgeable to be successful in real estate during that crazy boom market. You know what you had to have? A pulse, right? You remember that? Some of you were in the market then. All you had to do was have a pulse. Like if you could fog a mirror, you were golden. People were just falling out of the sky wanting to do real estate. And there you were with your license. And then you did it and you made all this money and it was all great. Well, those days are gone. And Laura kind of laughed and she said, Chandra, I hear people talk about that. I wasn't in the business then, so I didn't experience that market. But the way that I've been successful and been able to create this business for myself and my family is I just follow the Ninja Nine and the business flows. Because this market that we're in right now, that's the only market that I know. And I think that's a really great mindset reminder for every single one of us. It doesn't matter what's happening in the market, it all starts with your mindset. You have to believe that you can do this, and you have to believe that there's always a market. And the great news for all of you is you work for an amazing company within Kai's and Illustrated Properties that they provide you with the proven recipe of Ninja. And I really want you all to get, not everyone has access to Ninja. You know, most of what we do at Ninja is a private company event. Laura was lucky because when she got her license, just like all of you, she joined with a company that is a Ninja company. So that was a huge blessing for her because she could right away get into Ninja, took an installation, was off and running. And she's created an amazing business for herself and her family. Not everybody has the opportunity to do that. So you're at the right place with the right company at the right time to be able to make this happen for yourself. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, everybody. It's learn to dance in the rain, right? We're all going to deal with whatever comes our way, but the skills of Ninja are going to make that so much easier to do. So that's the first success key, mindset. And during our time together in the installation and afterwards, I'm going to share with you a lot about how our brains work. Because once you can understand the science, and if you can master that, it's going to turn your life around. And I'll show you exactly how we do that when we have multiple days together, not just 1 hour. All right, let's talk about the second success key, and that's skill set. Now, again, we all know it takes skills to be successful in real estate, right? We have to know negotiating, we have to know how to work with buyers, how to work with sellers, how the laws in Florida work, right? The contracts, right? All that stuff. Skill set is very important. At Ninja, we absolutely deal with skill set as well. In fact, we have a proven 16-step seller process that I'm going to teach you during the installation. We have a 10-step buyer process that you'll learn as well. So rest assured, we will absolutely cover the skill set of things. But when the market shifted, it was really important to hone your skills. So that's important, certainly today more than ever. And I want you to know that at Ninja, we have a very specific toolkit that we use for sellers. Now, obviously, we're not going to cover all this in 1 hour today, everybody, but just to give you kind of a look ahead of what would come in the installation and beyond, we're going to learn that 16-step seller process. I'm going to show you how to do that. It is scientifically designed to address the seller's greatest fears. And that's part of why Ninja is so successful because there's a lot of science behind the system. And you will find that when you follow the process, people will literally feel drawn to do business with you. In fact, I was just on a listing consultation a couple of weeks ago and I was competing. You know, they were interviewing a number of realtors and I received a really great compliment from these sellers. And it's one that I hear often, and you will start to hear this often yourself when you follow the Ninja system. They said, Chandra, you know, everybody else came and did a presentation, you know, and they talked about like their company and their statistics and how great they are and what they're going to do. But you were different. You did more of a consultation. Like we feel really educated and empowered and like you're going to do a great job for us and we'd like to work with you. So everybody, that is a constant compliment that ninjas, not just me, ninjas all around the country get because Ninja is different. The seller process is very different than anything that people have done before. So we're going to cover that in detail during our installation. We're also going to learn something called the value clarification question and 5 points of value. And that's super important because I think a lot of us would agree the majority of people with a license, they don't have a great way to articulate their value, right? There's a lot of people out there that have a real estate license, and you and I need to be able to succinctly and powerfully share with a seller the value that we bring them, what we do for them. A lot of people can't do that. But at Ninja, we have a very clear, easy to learn system on how to do exactly that. So we'll cover that as well. And then it's super important to hone our skills on pricing. I mean, I'm sure you all are seeing this in the Florida market. I've seen it in what I've read about the Florida market lately. I just got married a few weeks ago, and one of my husband's best childhood friends since elementary school lives in Florida. And so we were talking about the real estate market and all that. And, we all have to hone our skills on pricing because a lot of people are choosing to position their property and the price isn't meeting the market. So, how do we communicate that to a seller? How do we help a seller understand the market but not make their decisions? Part of how we do that is through visual tools. And I'm going to show you how to do that during the installation. I'm going to teach you three different pricing strategies actually during the installation. But one of those is going to be able to understand how to master what's called a scattergram. Now, some of you might be familiar with that term, some of you might not be. That's okay. We're not going to go into depth, obviously, today, but just know that it is something that you're going to love because it's super easy and visual, and it's totally going to set you apart from any other realtor that they would speak with. So, one of the things that we all need to get good at, as I mentioned, is articulating our value. So, if you're in a safe place, like not driving, take a screenshot of this or take a picture of it with your phone or whatever you need to do. This is going to serve as a great reminder for all of you that if you can master these 5 talking points, that's going to help you articulate your value to a seller. So, for example, I'm just going to give a quick little demonstration of this, how I did this like a couple of weeks ago in that consultation that I was referring to. So, when I sat down with these sellers, one of the things that I shared with them is the value clarification question and these 5 points. Now, just to give you a little bit of context here, for those that might not be as familiar with Ninja, one of the things that we do as ninjas is we practice what's called Socratic selling. Now, if you've never heard that term, everybody, Socratic means questioning. So instead of going into telling and selling mode, right, or what I call lecture mode, which by the way, I was the queen of that before Ninja. I was one of those people that people would often comment, "Oh, Chandra, you could sell ice to Eskimos. Like you're such a great salesperson," right? I mean, that was always what people said. And when I learned Ninja, everybody, I mean, it was a game changer because it allowed me to become more Socratic. So instead of going into lecture mode or telling and selling mode, I got really good at asking questions. And I'm going to teach you how to do the same thing. People respond to that so much better than the lecture, telling, and selling. So the first thing that I did was I asked these sellers a question. And it's what we call our value clarification question. And here's how it goes. I looked at them and I said, "Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you believe that your house will sell for a fixed price? Or do you believe that it will sell in some range of value based on the marketing and negotiating skills of your realtor?" And they looked at me and they said, well, I mean, I guess I hadn't really thought about that, but I suppose maybe there could be a range. And then I said to them, "You know what? I completely agree with you. In fact, I'd like to share with you the 5 things that I'm going to do to help you get to the top of the range in the market." First off, are you familiar with the term staging? "Oh, yeah, Chandra, yeah, we've heard of that. That's like where you bring in furniture and move our stuff around and all that." You're exactly right. And I want you to know that I hire and work with professional designer and stager, and they're going to come in and do exactly that with your property because if we can enhance your property and make it the most visually appealing for buyers to picture themselves living here, that's going to help you get top dollar in the market. And that is part of my services for you. Secondly, we're going to work on a pricing strategy together. You see, the market data is the data, right? It doesn't matter what realtor you work with. The MLS is not the magic listing system. There's no magic to the numbers. The data is the data. But I have very specific pricing strategies to help you navigate the dynamics of the market because you don't want to price your property too high and then you're going to scare buyers away and sit on the market. But you certainly don't want to price it too low where then you feel like you're leaving money on the table. I know it's critical for you to net the most you can from this sale. And thirdly, I want you to know that marketing is my specialty. Not only do I have an MBA in marketing, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, but I am going to give your property maximum exposure. Not only are we going to work with those professional designer and stagers, but we have a professional photographer and videographer. They'll create a custom floor plan of your property that we'll use in the marketing. We'll have a custom brochure designed for your property. We will use all of the marketing mediums available to us, obviously the MLS, all the social media platforms. The more people we can get your property in front of, the better chance we have of maximizing your market dollar. And do you think that negotiation is important in getting top dollar from your sale? Oh, yeah, Chandra, that's really important. I mean, we think negotiation is critical. Well, I would agree with you. In fact, I want you to know that I am an expert negotiator. And do you know that most people just get caught up on the price? That's all they focus on. But did you know there's actually 5 negotiating points to a real estate contract? And I'm going to help you negotiate the best on all 5 points before you ever sign on the dotted line with any buyer. And lastly, there's a lot of moving parts in a real estate transaction. I'm here to help manage all of that. We're going to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, get you maximum dollar for this property in the market, and then get you into your next home, hopefully on your ideal time frame. And my fee to deliver this level of value to you is, okay, now everybody, that took me a few minutes to do and demonstrate for you. That's exactly how I speak to my sellers. And you're going to learn that framework during the installation, but your goal is to be you. Please understand, this is not about you turning into a robot. This is not about you trying to become me. Like, no, we're not doing that. It is very important that you be your authentic self. So I'm going to show you how to take the ninja system that's proven and make it your own, because that's super important. So what I just did for you, most realtors can't do. If they were put on the spot, just like I was, I mean, they don't have the ability to articulate their value in a powerful, succinct way. You and I will, though, and we'll certainly dive deeper into that during the installation. The other thing that I mentioned is that I'm going to teach you pricing strategies. There's 3 of them that we'll cover in detail in the install. But one of the things that we will do is what's called value positioning. Now, this is a strategy that's super important, especially in today's market, because the key is you want to be able to help your seller price and position their property based on the competition rather, not just the comps, right? Not just the solds. And that's going to be super important. So just know that's one of the strategies. Again, in the essence of time, we obviously are not going to go down the rabbit trail of that right now, but it is very important to have pricing strategies. That's going to set you apart from other realtors. All right, now let's talk about a skill set that you could start doing right away. And that is Success Habit 6. So remember, Ninja 9 are the 9 success habits of Ninja. 5 of those are daily habits, 4 of them are weekly habits. Number 6 is a weekly habit. And if you've been around Ninja or exposed or taken an install before, it's going to sound familiar to you. It is to focus on your client service calls weekly. Now, everybody, this is a very simple concept that you can start doing immediately today. Unfortunately, some people are not doing this. And it's really easy to fall out of the habit of doing this. So for my ninjas who have been to an install before, and you're like, oh, yeah, that sounds familiar. Maybe you've fallen off the wagon, so to speak. We've all done it, everybody, myself, many, many times. I want you to just get right back on. This is where you schedule a day and a time to update your clients, both buyers and sellers. I'm going to give you a template to work with sellers. Okay, so let me get it up here, and then you take a screenshot, because obviously you're not going to have time to write all this down. So take a picture, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do here to capture this. This is going to be your tried, true, and proven template. So every week, like as an example for me, Mondays, so yesterday for me, was seller day. And what that means, everybody, is between 10 and 11, that is when I do my seller client update calls. So here's what that means. Every seller that I have people that are active on the market and people that are talking about listing their property in the near future. They are the people that I'm reaching out to every Monday. I am updating them on the market using this template. So here's what that means. Before I get on that phone call with them, and you're going to do the same, you need to do some homework, everybody. So you need to know the listing competition. Because here's the truth. You and I know that the competition is not the comps. And what I mean by that is it's not just what's happening in their neighborhood. It's what's happening in their price point within a certain geographic spread. You and I know that as a realtor. Think about that. You know that a lot of people's buying decisions are driven by certain criteria. Maybe it's school district. That's a biggie for me here in Colorado Springs. And I know, for example, this new listing that I have, it's in a subdivision called Northwind here in Colorado Springs. I know that that school district is a popular one, and someone who is a 450 to $500,000 buyer for this property, they're not just going to look in Northwind subdivision, they're going to look in the surrounding subdivisions, all the other subdivisions that are in that same school district. So that's what I mean by the competition. You need to very clearly be able to communicate the competition. Now, everybody, what I did is I created a custom single line display in my MLS. Now, you all have lots of tools available to you, in your tech stack and so forth. And I know Stephen teaches classes on this and all the things, but get an easy way to show people the market. So I just have this single line display that shows the graph of here's all the properties, here's who's had a price reduction, and it even has the little red arrow next to the price. That's a really great visual that I created so that people can see what's happening very easily. Then I need to be able to speak to, and so do you, what is selling and why that is. I also need to be prepared to speak to the trends. What's happening with the absorption rate in their price range? What's happening with the sales price to list price ratio? Now, I can tell you in Colorado Springs, that number is trending downwards into the 90s. Back in the hot market of 2020, 2021, heck, that number was over 100% in most every area. We need to be able to speak to the trends. You and I need to be able to get on that call with that seller and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, two of your competitors took a price reduction last week. I've emailed you the links so that you can see how they are now positioned and compared to you. Now, everybody, I want you to notice what I said there. I told them the data, and then I said, I emailed you the links. The reason that part is critical is at Ninja, one of our famous phrases that we like to use is showing is better than telling. So we don't just want to tell people about the market. We want to show them the market. You and I want that seller to get that email from you, and we hope they click on the link and start flipping through the pictures of that property and say to themselves, oh, wow, they're priced less than we are now. Oh, that they've updated all of their bathrooms. We've only updated the primary ensuite. Like you want people to be able to be clear about the market and the competition and what's going on. Last metric there is days on market. We're all familiar with that, DOM. That's easily gotten out of your MLS. You all know what that means. The other metric there that I want to touch on is called DTO, days to offer. Now, the reason this one is super important, everybody, is because of what I like to call the 3 S's. Now, this is something that I use. If you like it, you take it and you start using it. I explain to my sellers that our goal is to do everything possible to avoid the 3 S's. And of course, when I say this to a seller, you can imagine the first thing they look at me and say is, oh, well, what are the 3 S's? Well, the 3 S's are sit, stale, stigmatized. Now, everybody, think about that with me for a moment. You and I know that's exactly how real estate works. If a property sits on the market, it starts to become stale. Buyers are like, oh, yeah, saw that. That doesn't look so great. And then worse yet, it becomes stigmatized. You've all seen this happen. People will start to look at it and say to themselves things like, oh, something's wrong with that house, clearly. I'm not going to be a sucker that buys that house. Like, why has that been on the market so long? And the reason this concept is so important is because all of our sellers think, I'll start high. I can always what? Come down, right? You've heard it a million times, everybody, and so have I. That is a guaranteed recipe for the three S's. So we have to help educate our sellers. We have to be that professional that stands out and tells them the truth and helps them understand the dynamics of the market. So hopefully everybody, that gives you something that you can plug in right away. This all ties into one of our Ninja 9 success habits, which is success habit 6, to do our weekly client service calls. And by the way, we're going to do the same thing on the buy side as well. So we're going to have a specific day. I like to use Wednesdays myself for buyers, and it gives me an opportunity to call every active buyer, update them about the market, update them about all these metrics in the price range that they're looking in. So that's going to help you stand apart. That's going to be very important for you to stand out as the professional that I know you all desire to be. The other thing that this will do for you, everybody, is it's going to get you more business and referrals. Because if you think about one of the best source of referrals for you, literally ties into the science of our brain. Now, we'll go into more detail in this during the install, but the science of our brain, part of that is we all have a RAS, RAS. It stands for Reticular Activating System. It's about the size of your pinky. It sits at the base of your brain stem, and it's everybody's focus and filtering device in their brain. It's kind of like your Google onboard search engine part of your brain. It's going to focus on what's important to you and filter out everything else. The reason you want to be in consistent communication with your clients, both buyers and sellers, is because their RAS is tuned to real estate. Your active clients are going to be one of the best source of referrals for you because again, their brain is tuned to real estate. Their RAS is plugged in and they're going to notice all the other real estate conversations that are going to happen in their world. You are in flow with them. That's a ninja term that simply means we are in frequent communication with them. And the studies show that they know at least 4 people who are going to be moving this year. So this is where Ninja becomes a really big game changer for all of you because it really helps you start to see you don't have to chase leads, everybody. You don't have to buy leads. You don't have to stress and fret and worry. Where's my next business going to come from? If you follow the Ninja system and you utilize the power of the science that's built into it, you'll have all the business you could ever want. Okay, when it comes to buyers, as I shared with you, we are going to master a 10-step buyer process. It again is also scientifically designed. It will literally allow buyers to feel drawn to do business with you. Why? Because the system is designed to address their greatest fears. They're going to feel taken care of. They're going to feel heard in a way that they've never experienced in an interaction with a realtor before. We also have a value clarification question and 5 points of value on the buyer side. And we're also going to learn some negotiation techniques during the installation as well. So those are our skill set lessons, everybody. And the last piece is to focus on the last success key, which are your actions. Now, you've heard me say Ninja 9, Ninja 9. It really is the crux of the Ninja system. In fact, I would encourage all of you to consider Ninja 9 is your business plan. It is your proven path to success. If you will just focus on these 9 things, you will be successful. There's, 5 daily habits and 4 weekly habits. Now, let me give you some context for those of you who might not be familiar. The 5 dailies, you can accomplish these in 15 to 30 minutes a day. That's it, everybody. I don't care who you are, how many kids you have, what's going on in your world. You can find 15 to 30 minutes if you're serious about living your best life, both personally and professionally. So this is not hard, it's just systematic. The 4 weekly habits, I'm going to show you how to time block 2 to 4 hours over the course of an entire week. That's it, just 2 to 4 hours to accomplish those 4 weekly habits. Now, everybody, let's just keep it real with each other. Do you know that I can sit down at night and binge 4 hours on Netflix in one setting? Like a lot of you have probably done that too. Okay. So the point is, please don't let your excuses run the show here. Every single one of us can do these success habits. I'm going to show you exactly how. The cool thing about these habits is when you start doing these in your life, within 45 to 90 days, you're going to see a big change. The problem is most people quit before the magic happens, right? We're such an instant gratification type of society, microwave type of society, right? We want to do something and see the results right now. That's going to be the most challenging piece for you, I would venture to say. There are only a certain number of us who are willing to manage the lag. And what I mean by that is we're going to remind ourselves, okay, 45 to 90 day lag, 45 to 90 day lag. That's going to help us remember we have to stay the course. If we will be persistent, it will pay off. I'll give you a quick example. One of our ninjas in Ohio, her name is Melissa. In 2024, her volume, okay, volume, not GCI, her volume of business, 3.5 million. When she then came to the Ninja installation that her company put together, she took advantage, she signed up, she went. She went in February of 2025. In April, okay, now everybody, I want you to just notice this here. Remember, 45 to 90 day lag. This is about 90 days later, February install, April. In April, the volume that she did in that month was 3.9 million in 7 transactions. She did more in 1 month than she did the entire previous year. And she is just one of countless examples, everybody. But I can tell you, Melissa is sure glad that she took advantage of the opportunity that her company provided and signed up and went to the installation. The same thing can happen to you. Melissa's a great gal, everybody, but she didn't have anything that you don't have. All she did was started to work the proven system, just like every single one of you can. Remember, there's 2 parts to this business. There's generating the business and doing the business. Which one is harder? Generating. I think we'd all agree. Again, if I had a referral for any single person listening to this, you could take it and run. Great. Buyer, seller, I got this. It's generating those business opportunities that people have more challenge with. So here's what we have done at Ninja that I'm super excited to let you all know about. Some of you may already know this, but one of the things that we did is over the last year and a half, about time frame, couple of years, we have really studied the data. What have people done with Ninja? What does that look like? The people that are most successful, what did they do? How did that become their reality? And one of the things that we noticed time and time and time again is the people that were most successful were able to implement Ninja 9 after the installation. So what we did a couple of years ago is we created a program called Ninja 90. It's a virtual boot camp, and some of you might recognize this. Some of you may have taken this. It was a program that we developed a couple of years ago, and it's done over Zoom. It's a 12-week virtual boot camp where we meet once a week every Monday morning, and we work on Ninja. We work on incorporating Ninja 9 so that it becomes a habit as natural as like brushing your teeth every day. And that program, everybody, is an investment of $599. But here's the big change. What we are now doing, starting in late September, so you guys are going to be one of the first installations, first companies to get this, we are including the Ninja 90 program with your installation tuition. So you come live to the install, which is now a 3-day live event, by the way, everybody, not 4, which is going to be great because that's less time away from your family and your business and so forth. And then we are going to work together for 90 days after that, implementing the system. Because that was what we discovered was the missing key. You know, the research shows that there's only 20% of the population that could come take a Ninja installation and then get all that information, total information overload, and take it and run with it. Be like, great, I got this, and implement it and be successful. Well, there's 80% of us, everybody, that are not that. The 80% of us need some help. We need more than a live event for a few days. That is where Ninja 90 comes in. So I'm super excited about this for all of you. It is going to be the key to your success because implementation has been the missing component for a lot of people. Now, one of the things that I want to introduce you to, if you're not familiar with it, and I'm going to show you how to get it if you don't have it already, the success comes in the tracking. So at Ninja, we have a new scorecard that we've created. I say it's new. We've been doing the scorecard for over 3 decades, everybody. We've just had a lot of different versions and all that. We have come up with the version, the master one, that we have been studying with certain companies. We've done some case studies on this over the last year and a half. And we know this is the one. This is what's going to be the game changer for you. Now, it's an opportunity for you to track your activities on a weekly basis, and there's points for the different activities. And here's the deal. There are 100 points available, but here's what I need you to know, and let me make sure your brain hears this. You don't have to be perfect. I'm not looking for you to score 100 every week. In fact, if you are a C student in this, everybody, you're going to be golden. 74 points, at least 74, that's the magic number. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get 100. I mean, we have a lot of ninjas that do. That's great. That's fine. But let go of perfection, everyone. Let go of this black and white thinking, this idea that, oh, I got to be perfect. I got to do it all. Well, forget it. I'm not going to do it perfectly, so I'm just not going to do anything. Right? That's how I lived my life for so many years. I was very black and white about things. You don't have to do that with Ninja. Focus on just getting at least 74 points in the activities that are going to generate you business, and you're going to be golden. So, in the essence of time, everybody, that's all I'm going to get into with that. I am going to give you a link here to get the scorecard. If you don't have it, this will allow you to get a fillable PDF of the Ninja scorecard. This is going to be great for you to start looking at, start implementing, start using. We're going to work on this in the installation and certainly with Ninja 90, our implementation program afterwards. So, wanted to give you that link there, that URL. You can go on there and grab that. But I can promise you, this is going to be the game changer. It was for James. One of our ninjas, James, he's in Oklahoma, by the way, different market. In October of 2024, when he came to his installation, he only had one deal under contract for the last quarter of the year. He was very frustrated because he didn't want just one for the last quarter. He wanted to have a really great, robust business. So during his install, he made a big goal, everyone. He said, all right, I'm going to serve 50 friends and clients in 2025. And James took Ninja 90. Now, back then, it was a separate program. For you all, it's going to be included. But James invested another $599 and he took Ninja 90. He did his scorecard. He did all the things. And do you know when he came that next fall to his second installation, because most of us, we go to multiple ones, everybody. For most people, this is part of their business plan. Like they use it as like their yearly mastermind retreat. Can't just get it all in one. We all need that reset. We all need that reboot. And when he came for his second install, he had 36 closings to date. He had 13 under contract at that time. And do you know, he ended up getting one more and he finished the year with 50 friends and clients served. So that is the power of Ninja, everybody. That is why we say TSW, right? The system works. The key is you just need to work the system. So you're going to have everything you need within these three success keys: your mindset, your skill set, your actions, to be successful and live your best life, both personally and professionally. Now, when we work together, I can promise you these four things. There's going to be a lot of takeaways. The 3-day live event, it will be very fast paced. You're never going to get bored. You're not going to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, when's the good stuff coming? There's going to be tons of takeaways, and we're going to have some fun learning it. Because look, we're going to be sitting in a hotel ballroom in a classroom setting, and we're going to have fun learning the system as well. We're also going to make sure that everybody feels safe. We're not going to do anything weird. I'm not going to call anybody out or put anybody on the spot. It's going to be a super safe environment. You'll be able to ask questions. If you don't want to ask it in class, you'll have access to me before, after class. I'm going to give you all my number today. You can call me. Super safe environment. You don't have to worry about that at all. And I will also share with you the science of the system and why it's so successful as we go along, because there's a lot of science built into the system. So, everybody, if you're looking for the opportunity that is going to be the game changer for you, come to the installation, right? So, here's the details. September 23rd to 25th is when I'll be there. It's in Fort Lauderdale. It's at the Marriott North. We have a special room rate for people. So I will certainly be taking advantage of that, obviously, because I'm flying in. Some of you who live in different areas, or you don't want to mess with the commute, or maybe you're just thinking, you know what? I'm just really going to make this a business retreat for me. I'm going to get away from the noise and the distractions and the kids and all that. And I'm going to go and invest these 3 days live, and I'm going to stay at the hotel. Great. We have a special room rate. Stephen has, the link for that. Put that in the chat. And your investment is $750 for the early bird. Now, remember, that includes the 3-day live event, lunch, all your materials every day, and it also includes the Ninja 90, that 12-week implementation program. The cool thing that your company does, which, by the way, most of our companies don't do this for their agents, they are giving you an opportunity to register and secure a seat, because we only have limited seats, everybody. We can only have a certain number of people in that room. And once the tickets are sold, that's it. $450 to register. They'll put the remaining $300 on your accounts receivable. The other thing that is awesome for you all, your company knows how successful the Ninja system is, and they believe in it so much, and they believe in you, that they have set up the opportunity again for you to get reimbursed up to $300 after the install. That's $150 reimbursed for a closing, for 2 closings after the installation. Please don't waste this opportunity, everybody. I would encourage you, don't procrastinate, sign up, get one of the seats that are available. At this time, I would also like to make sure that you all have my information. So that's my cell phone number. Call or text that. That's my email if you choose to email me instead. I'm much more of a phone gal, so call, text is my preferred, but if you choose to email me, that's fine. But look, if you don't hear from me within 48 hours, everyone, please pick up the phone. That's what it's for. Like, maybe I never got your email. Maybe it got buried in my inbox, just like all of us get hundreds of emails a day. I am here for you. I know how Ninja changed my life, and I want that for every single one of you as well. So if you have other questions or things you want to talk about, I want to be respectful of everybody's time because it is top of the hour here. But I'm happy and able to stay on a couple of minutes here before I have to jump on with another Ninja company in Virginia. But I can stay on a few extra minutes and answer any questions that people might have.
Well, thank you for that, Chandra. And as we wait for these questions to come through, as you guys know, if you've been to a Ninja installation before, it really is life and business changing. And we've had so many top producers say, hey, this is my 4th, my 5th, my 6th time going through it. And I absolutely get more and more from it every single year. And for anybody who's just hearing about this for the first time, it really is a game-changing program for your life and business. And as Chandra had mentioned, in our chat right now, you can click on the link, and that is our registration page. And then we also put in our room rate block in there too. So you can click on those resources, of course, at any time after this as well. You can reach out to me directly, and we'll make sure to get that. But Chandra, I mean, thank you so much. And I want to highlight as well the way that you train and install this. It sounds like a lot of information, and so many people think before they've ever seen it, like, man, how am I going to retain anything? 4 days and now it's 3 days. Chandra does truly an amazing job at teaching this at the pace that's absorbable, and you can really learn and implement it at the actual installation as well. And then she's going to give us the 12 weeks continued implementation and accountability. And so, Chandra, I think that's just such a huge highlight because it's a really differentiated point that you're bringing to the table this year is that shorter installation, but much longer support going throughout the year.
Thank you, Stephen. Very well
Absolutely.
said.
Absolutely. Well, if anybody has any questions or comments now or after the program, feel free to reach out directly. Chandra, if you were to leave us with one final golden nugget, one golden takeaway today, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, Stephen. My one thing would, and I know it's technically nine things, but my one thing would be pick one habit of the Ninja Nine and work to master that habit. Just start with where you're at. Even if you're brand new to Ninja, you can get the book, you can look at what Ninja Nine is. You can go on the Ninja Selling Podcast, that's free. You can, go on our website and get weekly action tips. I mean, there's so many even free resources that you can plug into right away, right now that are going to make you even more set up for success when you hopefully join me live in September and then virtually for our 90-day implementation program after that.
I love that. That's fantastic, Chandra. And thank you for that. As you can see, Joni in the chat said it's the best. She's had many associates go through it. And so thank you so much for that, Chandra. Like you said, the Ninja 9, it is life-changing. And for anybody who has any questions after, Chandra's always available to jump on a call too. She's always very accessible. Lisa, congratulations in the chat. You're signed up. You're ready to
Yes,
go. I love it. Yeah, we've already been
that's
getting a lot of
awesome.
associates signing up already, even before this, Chandra. So we're really excited to have you come back out September 23rd through the 25th. And again, just if you guys could join me in a nice round of applause. Chandra, thank you so much. As always, you're always a rock star. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, everybody. Love y'all. Look forward to seeing you. Let's all live our best lives, both personally and professionally. And I'm honored that I can help you learn the system that will allow you to do that. So don't hesitate to reach out. I've got another call with Ninja Company Virginia, but then I'll be around the rest of the day after that. So, and remember too, I'm 2 hours behind you. So don't ever hesitate to reach out if you want to talk further or have questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chandra. Look forward to seeing you in September. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.